Joining me now, Maud Maron, Parent Leaders for Accelerated Curriculum and Education co-founder. Maud, it's great to have you on set with us. Thank you so much. New York Post headline, article that you wrote, caught our attention, and we want to talk to you about it and have you talk to our viewers about it. Headline is, why this pro-choice Democrat is voting Lee Zeldin for governor. You saying here, quote, I'm still pro-choice, but listening to Governor Kathy Hochul constantly campaign on abortion is just one more reason I am voting for Rep. Lee Zeldin. So explain.
Well, I don't think I'm alone as a Democrat who's really fed up and frustrated with what we're seeing every day in the streets. And particularly, I'm not alone in being fed up with the gaslighting, because what we keep hearing from our elected officials, and I'm a lifelong Democrat, so I voted for a lot of the Democratic leaders that are telling us crime's not really that bad, or the subways are really not that safe, or you know, it's a rare occurrence that we get a murder in the subway, but we're living it, and our kids are living it, and we're seeing it every day on the streets and in our subways. Our city is just not as safe as it used to be, and I talk to a lot of parents. I've worked in education advocacy for many years now, and they're fed up. Yeah. And that's why I think even though we are a solidly Democratic state and Democratic city, I think that Democrats really have to change their policy, not just change their message, if they want to hold on to voters like me and other parents.
I will say you are not the first Democrat that I've spoken to who has told me they are changing their vote. They will not be voting with the party in this election, and that crime is their #1 concern. Because I live here in New York City. We talk about it on this show all the time, what's going on, and it's not a figment of our imagination. It's real and it's happening, and the crime on the subway is especially concerning for people who don't have options, right? If you can't take an Uber, walk to work, do whatever, you know, have an alternate method of transportation, it's really tough and really scary to go down there. We have to deal with that every day. Hochul standing up now and saying, well, we're going to put more cameras in the subway. That could take another year and a half. We're going to try to get more cops to go down there. But we've got cops leaving our police force in record numbers as a result of what's happening. Many people say this is just too little too late. If you were going to do something about it, the last 2 years was the time.
Right. New York City has the largest school system in the entire country, so we have hundreds of thousands of children who commute to school on the subway, on the buses and on the subways, and they need to be safe. And adding more cameras will let us film the crime that's happening there, but it won't help us stop the crime that's happening there. And I'm a public defender by training. I worked in the criminal courts for years. We have made drastic changes to our laws in this state that have consequences, that have real consequences. So it's not complicated to understand how to make our city safer again. We have to repeal the laws that aren't working. Making sure that poor people don't get held in jail for bail that they can't reach, that's a fair and legitimate reform to enact. But tying judges' hands so that they can't take dangerous people off the streets, that's not a legitimate reform to enact, and we need to change it.
I'm glad you brought up the point about the cameras, because there are some cameras in the subways, and now everybody's got an iPhone. So we're constantly playing videos of crimes that are happening down there where bystanders are taking videos. It does not seem to be a deterrent at all. I think what you're talking about, cashless bail, is huge, and also DA Alvin Bragg. Lee Zeldin has said he'll do away with the cashless bail mandate, and he also will remove the district attorney.
The district attorney is an incredibly important part of this, because we saw with the Jose Alba case that we have a district attorney who really doesn't understand who the good guy is and who the bad guy is in a given crime. So we need to have a district attorney who's going to prosecute crime aggressively and keep people safe by taking people off the street who don't belong in the street. And I will say there's a huge mental health component that's real, but just because someone is mentally ill doesn't mean that they're not dangerous and doesn't mean that they won't commit crimes.
Yeah, no, you bring up a good point, and that is another issue. A lot of people tell me, and I feel it all the time just walking around, you feel that sense that some people are unhinged, and you just wonder when is going to be the time that they're going to pounce at you. I just want to get your take on what we're experiencing here in the city as well regarding inflation. This is a very expensive city to live in, generally speaking, and so it's exacerbated by the rise in costs that we've seen across the board. And people are having a tough time. A lot of people have left as well. Do you think new leadership might be able to infuse some life back into the city, not only with respect to crime, but economically, to bring some of those folks back?
Anyone who lives in New York knows someone, or likely many people, who have moved to Florida recently, or New Jersey, or Texas, or somewhere else, because people are looking for places to live that are more affordable and safer. And that's really reasonable. And if we elect the exact same people who got us to the place we are now, people are going to keep leaving because nothing's going to change. We absolutely need to change our elected leaders and change our policies if we want to keep the people that are here. I think it's an even harder lift to bring people back. But if we just want to keep the people, to stop people from leaving, we need a change and we need new leadership.
I think you're right, and it comes down to quality of life, right? And all of these issues go into that basket, and this is what people are dealing with on a daily basis. We hope not to lose more New Yorkers. Maud Maron, great to see you. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.